Good evening, folks. It's Thursday night, and we're doing a bit more development. And tonight, we're going to have a look at our miner now that we have sorted out our minerals. Right, so we'll have a look at where we are. We'll look at how we sort that out. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on that and get our drones up in action. Now, one of the first and annoying things that we're going to do, or we're going to fix, I shall show you in a second, and this is all because basically we never envisaged actually building a miner when we first started this, right? But now that we are, you'll notice that this, well, number one, it's way too big, right? But when we build it, it stays, right? So we basically need to sort that out. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to check on one of our other buildings to check. Actually, what we're going to do is we will look at placement, which is temp building, and this is the one that does it. Okay, so we look at can place, and I'm going to say that this is going to go in here. Okay. Now this is a slightly, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do that, right? And then I'm going to remove this. Then I'm going to split this struct. Whoopsie doopsie. Then I'm going to drag this down. I'm going to plug this in. Well, actually, I'm going to split this struct. I'm going to plug this in here. And then we're going to say 0.5, 0.5, and 0.5. We're going to save that. And then we're going to try it again. And now we should get a better size of miner. So the first thing we're going to do is send out our probes. And then we shall test this out. Right. And these are all going to be bauxite, right? So we're going to do 2 more probes, okay? So we are basically going to do probe again, and then we're going to probe here. Okay, and I believe that will actually do us. Okay. So now that we've done that, we are going to save our situation. Then we're going to build. And that first part works fine. Right, but our other part isn't quite right. So what we've got is this temp building, and it's going to be in the UI when we click on it. Right, and it's this one here. Okay, then when we build on this, we're going to build the spawn. Right, now our slight issue here is we're going to do this as now this isn't going to stay this way, right, but we'll do it anyway for now. We're going to duplicate this, a building type, and then we're going to do a switch on it. Actually, we're going to do equals. Right. And not great. But what we're going to do is say if it's a minor. Right. We're going to make a vector. Okay, now is this? Nah, it's an event graph, so it isn't a function. Okay, whatever. So what we'll do is we'll add we'll say building scale, right, and that's going to be a vector. Now we're only doing this temporarily, right, but we'll save that anyway. Right, and for building scale we're going to save that, and then we're going to set it to basically 1, 1 and 1. And if it's a minor, or actually we're going to say not, right, we're going to say branch. We could do a switch on this, but it's hardly worth it because it's only the minor that we're doing this with. So we'll just do this, and then we'll just say set, and basically we'll duplicate that. Right, and if that's true, we basically say 1, 1, 1, and if it's the minor we say 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. Now I would normally set this up in a data table, but as I said, I don't think this is going to stick around, so I'm just going to do it like that. Okay. And we'll save that. So now, when we do this, and even that's way too big. It's more like 0.25 to be honest. Should really check it to see how big it is in comparison. But I think we'll do that. Right, so what we'll do is, right, it's actually the building mesh here. And that isn't the building mesh that we're looking for. Alright. Let's check on structs and data. And if we check on D2 menu buildings, minor is this thing here. And interesting. Is it Gastrotop 3? I'm guessing it's not. This actually might be 1/10 the size. Alright. Let's try it anyway. Nah, that seems a bit better. Right. Okay, so we'll live with that. Okay, so our next point of reference, now that we've got that sorted out, is in the minor to basically find adjacent minerals of different types. Right, and this could be some here. Okay, So we can check this out and see where we are regarding this. Right, so we do have two here, right? Now, one of our next points is to find out what speed we need to run our code at to find out what speed we need to set that rate at. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to save that for later, right? Then we're going to stop that. Okay. Then we are going to go to our drones. Why, thank you, Founder K4, K5. That's very kind words indeed. I mean, what have you seen so far that makes it look cool? Tell me what you've seen, and I'll tell you what else we have. How's that for a deal? Right, so we're going to look at meshes, and we need to move this drone to the right place, by the way. Right. In fact, we could do this just now. Right, so we could do meshes, right? And we've not got a drone. So we could do it into blueprints. I shouldn't have done that. That was not what I wanted to click on like an idiot. Alright, so we'll go back to meshes. We'll go to drone, but we'll click on there so that we can move the drone. Right, and we'll drag the drone into blueprints. And we'll say move here. Right, so we should now have drone in there. Then we can look in our BP drone. Now, this is it here, right? This is the part kind of, right, begin play, activate scanner, and that's right, we do a move to, right? This is actually right, this is actually in the AI, it's in the tasks. And it's a BT task move to, right? Now, the interesting thing here is we need to know this move to, right? And it's this part here that's the interesting part, where we get the distance and then we set the play rate. Okay? So I'm going to delete anything that's kind of not used at the moment. Alright, so we'll delete that. Right, now this would suggest it would take longer, right? So what I want to do, right, is I want to do that, and I want to add a breakpoint, right? Now, the interesting thing is here, right, that I think it's actually going slower when we basically, let's just check this, right? Now, I don't know why I did that, but anyway. Right, where? Right, so there's some drones up there. Right, so there's drones heading out. And we have distance between here and here is 249. Right, I think what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to start a new game. Right, and we're going to check these manually when we start the game and find out what values we get. Right, so here is a very close position, right, and our distance is 650. Now this is going to change slightly. No, it's not. And 650, and I'm guessing it's doing it between 2541. Okay, whatever. 1792 2672. So that's coming out at 0.2. Okay. 0.2. 0.2. Okay. So these should all be 0.2 again because it's the same distance back as it was forward. Right. So they should all basically head for home. right? So it was 0.2. So what we want to do is try one up here and see what values we get for this. Okay. And that's 548. Now I'm guessing that's it going up. Right? This is them all going up in the air. Right? And then the next time it does it, it's going to be the actual distance. And we're at 0.075. Right? So what I'm guessing here is this should be, the bigger it is, the smaller it should be, right? Instead of the other way around. So let me think about this for a second. Yeah, that should be right. This should be faster. Right, is this an integer? No, it's a float. Right, let's try that again. Right, so we want something close. Right, so we'll go like that, then we'll go like that. Right, we go 1, 2, 3. And then this one is going to be our number. So it's 0.001. So we're going to go at 0.07. Right? Point 0.027. And 0.012. Right, I'm going to give this a benefit of the doubt here. These should be fairly close, 0.018, because each one will be going a different distance. 0.024. So I'm guessing whatever one that was is going a shorter distance, right? Then they're all going to drop 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Like that, keep running. right? So these are going to start lifting up again, and then we're going to get a few breakpoints here. Right? And then they'll all drop down. And that should be that for now, right? So those were pretty close, right? So what we want to do now is get ones that are further away, like these ones here, right? And then we should see a much faster play rate on these, right? So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, right? Then I don't know if the fourth one's going to go or not. That's 0.07, right? And now we've got a distance of 15,000. Right, so that's going slower, right? Okay, so what we actually need to do here is there is another calculation to be done, and that I have taken it out because it wasn't working properly, but we're going to try and put it back in, and it was in our BP output object, right? And this is it here. Right? So what we're basically doing is we're moving it along the track, and we're multiplying it actually, you know what? If we go back to our drone, right? Let's bear with me just a second here, guys. Right? But I think actually, interesting. That's going to be a much lesser number. This is the point where I need a bit of paper and a pen, but I hate doing this on a stream to calculate this out. It's the inverse, right? The lower the number, the faster it should be, right? So we should get 1 divided by that. That should actually, yeah, that should give us a bigger number. It shouldn't give us a smaller number. Right, let's try that again. Let's actually have a look at this. I'm going to have to stop that and drag this down out of the way. Let's try that again, right? Right, so if we probe this, we'll do this one here, right? We're going to get a 3, right? So it should be, this number here is 650, right? So you get 1 divided by 650, which gives you 0.001. Then we multiply it by the speed, which gives us 0.07, right? That's going to be the same, that's going to be the same. Next time it does it, this is going to be a different number. Okay, it's not, because we're maybe going to do 4. And the next time it does it, it's going to give us a different number, right? So this is the distance to our destination, right? So it's 1 divided by 5,000, which gives us 0.0002. Right? Then we multiply that and we get 0.009988, right? So you basically get 0.01. Okay, so if we resume that, and then we resume that, and resume, and resume, and resume, and resume, and keep resuming. Right, what we'll do is we'll disable that, and then they all should fly back, right? Okay. And then once they have, we'll assume that they've landed, right? And remember, we were doing 5,000, okay? So we want something a lot further away. So this one will do. So we'll do that, right? And then this is going to give us our start, 650 or whatever it is, right? There we go. So resume, resume, and here they come, right? So this should now not be 650. They are 23,000, right? And that's not 0.00043. So this is a lot slower. Okay? So this is kind of not okay. Right, so this isn't quite right. So the higher the number, we want this to be right. Okay, so we kind of want the inverse of this. Right, and my brain has went completely blank. On this. Right, now if we look at here, multiplied by the speed, then we set the time, but then we multiply this, we multiply that out by the number that we got over there, which is the track spline length. Right, so if that's the case, and I'm not buying it, right, but we'll try it. Right, what we should be doing is, oopsie daisies, we should be doing this and we should be multiplying that by this number here and saving that. Right, now what we're going to do is we are going to disable that and we're going to check it and see what that does. I'm guessing that this is going to slow it right down. Right, that's my guess anyway. We'll soon find out. And yeah, okay, now what I'm suggesting that we do is it's that but it's divided by. Then we delete that. So we get that, delete that, delete that. And that. And now I'm guessing that these are going to be really fast. Right, but we kind of need one in the middle here. And the funny thing is that this kind of negates, right, these are going to go like a rocket here, right? So you'll just suddenly see them appear out of nowhere, right? I mean, it works, but it's not exactly what I wanted, right? You'll see them shoot away really fast here. Right? It's like light speed. Right, so that's not going to cut it for me. So I'm going to delete that because that's just not cutting it. I need a number that is the inverse of what we're looking for. Right, so that the bigger the number, the nearer this is to 1. Right, but the thing is that we do need we kind of do need a sort of flat line. We need a baseline, right? And this can basically go here. This can go here, right? So we kind of need this and then divide it, right? Divide it by a number, like let's say it was 1,000 even, but that's not going to do it for us. Well, we could. Let's see what happens if we do that, right? Let's see we divide this by 1,000. Right, and then we plug it in here. Let's see what it actually looks like when we do that. I'm having one of those nights where I'm just going to play around with things and just try a couple of things out, even if it's not. Right, let's see how this looks. Right, it looks like these things are shooting off really fast. Yep. Right, stop that just now because that's just nonsense. So basically that's not going to do it. But as I said, we need some sort of a number that is the inverse of the length that it is. Right? Right now, in theory, we should be able to work this out. right? Just going by, your standard speed equals distance over time, right? Because basically our move, right, is a 0 to 1, right? But we can say that it's actually over 2, is it? No, it's not. It's 1, 1. Yeah, it's 1, 1. Don't know why the length is 2. That's a bit weird. Right? So basically, well, this is kind of difficult because our major one, right, I'm just thinking here. Let's do a test. Right? Let's do a test. And we need to have a look at our, right, I don't know why I closed that down. Right, let's do a test. What we should do is, well, here, right, I'm going to explain this, right? If it's less than 1,000, right? If this is less than 1,000, our new rate, right, should be let's say 0.5, which means that it's going to take, well, let's say 0.33, right? And then anything else is 0.2. Okay? So, in theory, if the play rate is set to 0.33, this should take 3 seconds, right? If this is set to 0.2, then it should take 5 seconds. Yeah? Are we agreed on that? So what we could do is we could break this, right? And we could say 0.25, right? And then every movement should take 4 seconds, right? So if we're moving up, it should take 4 seconds. If we're moving down, it should take 4 seconds, etc., etc. If we're moving across, it should take 4 seconds, right? That is my understanding of it. So these should go up pretty slow, but they don't. Right? Now here's the thing. We're going to do something else. Right? What I'm going to do, just for a laugh, is we're going to plug this straight into here, right? And then this one here, right? We're going to grab this and we're going to divide it by 0.25. Okay. And in theory, our liftoff should take 4 seconds. Okay? And then moving to here should take 4 seconds. Did those actually move? Yeah, they did. Right, so color me completely nonplussed by that. So basically, whichever way we did that, it did not slow down. Right? It did not slow it down. Okay, so let's do something else. And we'll do that. 0025. Right, but we'll plug this back in here. Right, we'll get this out of the way. Alright, and we haven't any rocks near. Well, there they are. So probe here. Let's have a look. And look at that, those are really, really slow. Right. So this is weird. Right. If you're enjoying the stream so far, hit the like and subscribe. I'm going to go and grab a cigarette. I shall be 2 minutes. I won't be long at all. So stick around, guys, and check out the description for Discord and ways to support the channel. I shall be back in 2 seconds. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we're back, and what we need to do now is we actually want this to be about 1.75 as a test, and the reason for that is we give it 6 seconds to get to its destination, and that is basically going to get there just in time to do what we need to do. Right, so we might actually be able to set this just to 1 point. So we shall try this. And they come over pretty slow. And they're going to get there. And we're actually going to have to set it a little bit faster. Right? So we're going to actually have to go to 0.02, which is okay because that will make them rise up faster as well, even though it's fine. Right, but here we go. We can work on this. Now these are going to fly over. Drop down. And we could even set them a little bit faster than that. We could stop that. And we could say 0.3. Right. Now, if we go further afield, and maybe click on here, and yep. Okay, so that's cool. So that works fine. And we'll leave that for now, because that's okay, right? We're quite actually happy with that. And with that, I'm going to get a little drink here of my juice. Well, actually it's water. Right, and we can now look at our next problem, which is the recipes for the miner. Right, now that might sound weird, but I'll explain it in a second. And it's basically if we have two sets of minerals together that might be different types, and Do we have any here? Apparently not. Right, we'll just stop it and start it again. Alright, and see if we've got anything close again. This is a possibility. Actually it's not. It's close, but no cigar. Let's have a look round the sides here, see if we've got anything. If I get something here, I'll save it. These are close, but not close enough. Right, here we go. This is something. Right, so we can probe here. And unfortunately they are the same type, so we just stop it and go again. And here we go. Again, we can probably go here. Now, once we do this, we can save it. And then we can work on it from that point of view. Oh, they're the same again. Right, we just need to keep looking, see if we can find something. Okay, we'll stop it and start again. Not easy. Once we get one, we're fine, right? We can just save it and then we've got it forever. And we can just test away on it. Right, but it's getting the two together that are different types of ore. And this could be one. So we can try this one out, have a look. I don't know if you can hear that now, but they're kid outside crying their head off. Right, so we've got two different types here, right? So this is perfect for what we want to do. So we're going to save it. And our issue now is our miner, wherever that is, here. When we do this, we can't do this, right? What we actually need to do is we need to do this in a different order. We need to scan for the materials, and then for each of the materials we need to add it to our output, right? So we're going to look in here first. Scan for materials, get all that as a class. It's going to loop round, then we line trace, and then we cast to mineral, then we add to this. And then what we do is we go back to our event graph. Got a frog in my throat here. Comp outputs is cleared. Then we do this. Right. So we basically do this. Right. So we can copy that. Right. And then we can put it in here. Right. And what we'll do is we'll do that. And then we do that. Right. And that is it, I think. Now the point here is that if we go to our miner and then we look at our recipe outputs, wherever they are, now it would appear that these are actually in the comp output. There we've got S output. Right, so we can try this, right, and see what happens. So if we go like that, and then we build a miner, build it there, then we click on our miner, or we select our miner, and then we select its output, and our S output is copper ore, which is the one we clicked on, right? So we stop that. Okay, recipe outputs, S output, which is that. Now, recipe outputs must be here. Where is this defined? So, right, I'm guessing it's in BPI based building, right? Because you've always got an output. Actually, no, you haven't. That's just not true. No, it hasn't got S out, recipe outputs, right? So it's not that. So where is it, is the question. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to add a breakpoint there. Shouldn't have done that. We'll escape that for now. Press play. And we shall put our miner down. Right, and there we go. Ore type copper ore 0. Right, and we're adding it to this array here, which I'm guessing comes from the comp output. And it only did it once. Right, so we're going to stop that for now. We're going to try it again because that should have broke twice. Right, it should have broke on this one as well. Well, let's do that. So that's step over, resume, step over, right, resume, step over, and that's copper ore again, resume, step over, resume, and it's not finding, it did find this but it didn't add it. Right, let's do it again, but let's click on the bauxite this time. Right, this would suggest a problem, not necessarily. So we step over, and our first one should be bauxite, that's right. Resume, step over, and this should be copper ore. It's not. And there is only one copper bauxite. If I resume that, that's us. Right, wait a minute. Wait a minute, that's not right, you see. Out hit, mineral. And this should come from here. Actually no, is it? Yeah, we're getting BP mineral. Right. And we get the type. And that goes there. Now that seems to be what the issue is. So we'll save that. So we go, no we don't, we do this. So we step over, okay, we're not too worried about what that is. Copper ore, resume, step over, bauxite, resume, then we'll resume again, and then now if we click on our miner, then comp output, we've got our 2, right? And that's what we want. Okay. And now for the next step. Now you can see there that we are doing our thing. Alright. And this is going to have to fit in here. Which is fine. All we need to do is move this up. Then move this down a bit. Right. And what we can do is we can pop that in there. And that gets us a better. Right. And I suppose we can move this down a bit as well. And that's us there. And we're taking our time here. Right, so the next thing is when we actually process, okay? And this is the part kinda here. Right, so what the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move this down. Well, actually what we'll do is we'll move it back up, and then right, how much space can we give ourselves? Well, we can give ourselves a good bit of space here. Right, and for this one we need to do our interface thing, right, where we move all the interface calls into like a commented part that's all the interface parts, which we've done another one, so we'll check that out in a minute or two and move that up a little bit. Then we shall grab all this and straighten it out. and then we shall start tidying it up a bit. Okay. Right, so let's start doing that. So this is going to go, let's say, here. Then this is going to get dragged down a bit. This is going to go down a bit here. We can sort that out a bit. I think I've got mosquitoes attacking me again, which is never a good sign. We can do that. I think I'd be as well putting this into some sort of a function. Right, but our point now is that we need to get whatever it was that we selected and find out what it actually was, what type of ore it was. And then basically add it to the correct position. Or add it to the right output. Okay. And then when we output, we need to select it from the right position. Okay. So this becomes a little bit different. Right? So this is where we get our thing. Right? And this is going to be break. Okay, maybe it's not. We have R overlapping materials, and there are overlapping materials is a mineral, BP mineral, right? So we're basically going to get the type. And this is the ore that we're going to remove, right? So I think I'm going to have to start splitting this up into some sort of logical sense, right? So we're getting our ore here from our overlapping materials, overlapping minerals, right? Then we're getting the type. Now we are removing one from this. The difference is when we come down here, right, we're getting this, but we're not getting necessarily 0. We have to actually get the one that is the correct index. Right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to write a function, and it's going to say return or index. Okay. And we're going to pass in the or type, and that's going to be an E item, I believe. And then we're going to get the comp output, and we're going to say output, believe it's S output. Then we're going to say for each, except it's not going to be a for each, it's going to be for each with break. Right? And we're actually probably going to have a local variable here, and we're going to say temp index, and that's going to be an integer, and then when we come in we're going to set it to 0, and then we're going to break this, right, and then we're going to say if that equals this, and we're going to drag this up that. So we can do that, and then we can branch here. And once we have branched, we can say temp index set, then we can set it to this index here. And then we can break here. And in here we can put an output, and it's going to be an index, and it's going to be an integer, and we're going to have it on completion of this, and that is going to go in there. Okay, and then we're going to jump on this, do. Right, we'll say straighten connection. Reroute node. And we'll straighten this one as well. There we go. Save that. And we're probably going to make this pure. So click on that, pure, save that. And if we go back to the event graph, we can pull this in. We can go to here, then the index can go to here. Per cycle. And I believe this is actually going to be another minus. We're getting that array, we're making the array, we're getting this quantity, and we're adding it to this quantity here. Let's see what one, yep, that's S output. So this should actually be minus. Alright, so I'll take that out of there. And actually, this is going to go in here. So that should be us. We've got one more step to take, and that is when we are actually outputting stuff. We've got to pull it from whatever index it is. Right, now that should be done in our comp output. Okay, so we're going to have a look at that later, and we're going to call it for tonight. So if you've enjoyed the stream, hit the like, subscribe, check out the description for Discord and ways to support the channel, the usual stuff, Patreon and my previous game. You can add it to your wish list, whatever you like. And thank you for watching, and I shall see you tomorrow at 2 PM Central. I'll see you then. Bye bye.